Listen carefully, because I'm about to tell you something most men never hear until it's too late. The biggest lie your wife ever told you wasn't "I love you." It was the quiet one she whispered while already planning her escape. Tonight, I'll expose the 7 lies cheating wives use and how to spot them instantly. But first, prove you're ready for the truth. Smash that like button if you can handle it, subscribe so you never miss what women really hide, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from, because trust me, this epidemic is worldwide. Lie 1. I just need some space. It sounds harmless, almost noble. She looks at you with tired eyes and says, she just needs some space to think. You tell yourself it's healthy, that everyone needs breathing room. But here's the truth most men miss. When a wife suddenly demands space, she's not rediscovering herself. She's creating a safe zone where you can't watch what she's really doing. This lie is the perfect camouflage. Under the banner of self-care or finding herself, she carves out hours, even days, where you're expected not to question her. Suddenly, she's taking long solo drives at night, claiming the silence helps her clear her head. Or she develops a taste for late evening coffee shop sessions, headphones on, typing away at a personal project you've never once seen. Here's the dirty detail. Her friends know exactly where she really is. They cover for her with vague, rehearsed lines. "Oh, she was just here a few minutes ago. Must have stepped out." That's not coincidence, that's choreography. And while you're pacing the living room, wondering if you've somehow smothered her, she's messaging, meeting, or planning with someone else. The psychology behind this lie is brutal. She frames her absence as your fault. "I just feel overwhelmed by the relationship," so you don't dare protest. She counts on your respect for her independence, turning it into the very weapon that shields her deception. And when you finally notice the pattern, gym sessions she never used to care about, new girls' nights that never existed before, she doubles down on guilt. "Why can't you just trust me?" But the timeline doesn't lie. The suddenness of this space is the giveaway. Healthy independence grows gradually, naturally. This kind of sharp withdrawal is a red flag the size of a billboard. Watch her habits. Is she vague about where she's been? Does she come back oddly energized from her so-called alone time? Does she avoid sharing even the simplest detail about what she did? Those gaps aren't empty, they're filled with secrets. And yet, for all its power, this isn't the most dangerous lie. Space buys her time, but time alone can't sustain betrayal forever. No, the deadliest moves are still to come. Because once another man enters the picture, she doesn't just hide behind distance, she invites him into your marriage. And that's where lie number 2 begins, disguised as innocence, but sharper than a knife. Lie 2, he's just a friend. This one stings the most because of how casually it's delivered. You ask about the man who keeps showing up in her conversations, the one whose name slips out a little too often, and she fires back with a practiced smile. He's just a friend. Don't be insecure, that line is poison wrapped in silk. On the surface, it paints you as the unreasonable one, the jealous husband who can't handle a woman having platonic connections. But beneath the surface, it's the most common camouflage for emotional betrayal. Affairs rarely begin with candlelit dinners in hidden hotels. They begin with a friendship that grows roots where you're not allowed to look. Here's what this looks like in real life. You notice her laughing at her phone more than she laughs with you. You walk in, and she flips the screen down, quick as lightning, saying it was just a meme from a friend. That friend suddenly has inside jokes you're not part of. He knows stories you've never heard, references you don't understand. She's building a private world, brick by brick, and every time you question it, she defends it like her life depends on it. And here's the gossip detail nobody tells you. Her friends are often complicit. They know his name. They know she texts him late at night, sometimes while you're sitting on the couch beside her. They'll nod politely when she mentions him to you, because they've already rehearsed the role of alibi witnesses. It's dirty and it's deliberate. The psychology is simple but cruel. By labeling him just a friend, she makes you feel paranoid for even noticing him. She weaponizes your natural desire to be trusting, twisting it into a weakness. The more defensive she gets about this so-called friend, the more certain you should be. He's not just filling her messages, he's filling the emotional gaps she created when she started asking for space. The red flag is not the friend's existence, it's the secrecy surrounding him. If everything was innocent, you'd have nothing to question. But secrecy doesn't grow around friendships. It grows around flames she's trying to hide. And yet, as sharp as this lie feels, it's still not the one that cuts deepest. Because sometimes, instead of defending her friend, she flips the script entirely. She paints herself as the broken one. That's the next lie, and it's more manipulative than all the rest. Lie 3. You deserve better than me. On the surface, it sounds selfless, even touching. She lowers her voice, looks away, and whispers, "You deserve better than me." And you, being the decent man you are, hear humility. You think maybe she's overwhelmed, maybe she's doubting herself. But what you don't see is the strategy woven into every word. This line is not an apology, it's not humility, it's preparation. By framing herself as unworthy, she plants guilt in your heart before the truth comes out. If you ever discover what she's hiding, she'll lean on this moment like a shield. "I told you I wasn't good enough. You should have listened." Suddenly, the betrayal isn't her choice, it's fate. Let's break it down. She says it right after disappearing for hours on a work call. Or maybe she whispers it after you ask why she's been so distant. It's perfectly timed because it shifts your focus. Instead of asking, "What are you hiding?" you start asking, "How can I reassure her?" She redirects your energy from suspicion to sympathy. And here's the gossip-style detail. She often practices this line with her friends first. Over coffee, she'll sigh dramatically, "I just feel like he deserves better than me." They nod, maybe even pity her, but what she's really doing is rehearsing her escape narrative, building a sympathetic storyline where she's not the villain, she's the tragic figure. The psychology is vicious. By declaring herself less than, she sets the stage for an ending where you're supposed to feel grateful for the time you had, not furious for the lies she told. It's emotional manipulation in its purest form. She's not warning you out of kindness. She's softening the blow for herself. Here's the proof. If it were genuine insecurity, she'd invite reassurance. She'd want you to lift her up. Instead, she says it flatly, almost like she's reciting lines. There's no vulnerability in her tone, only calculation. And you know what's worse? When you accept this lie, you give her permission to keep disappearing, to keep pulling away, to keep building her secret life, while you stand frozen in guilt she carefully placed in your chest. But as manipulative as this false humility is, it's only the beginning. Because sometimes she doesn't just rewrite the story, she rewrites the timeline. And that's where the next lie begins, the convenient excuse of missed calls and forgotten texts. Lie 4. I didn't see your call. I forgot to text back. At first, it feels harmless. Everyone misses a call now and then. Everyone forgets to text back. But when your wife starts using this excuse over and over, always at the most inconvenient times, it's not forgetfulness, it's strategy. Think about the timing. She doesn't forget during her lunch break when she's scrolling Instagram. She doesn't miss calls when she's gossiping with her best friend. No, she becomes unreachable on those mysterious girls' nights, or when she's supposedly tied up with a late client meeting. The silence is selective, and that's your first clue. Here's the gossip detail that burns. You check WhatsApp, and her last seen was 11:42 p.m., exactly when she claimed she was too busy to reply. Or worse, she swears her phone died, but you notice the charger was right there on the nightstand. The lie is sloppy, but it's wrapped in such casual delivery that you almost doubt yourself. This is how priorities shift in real time. While you're waiting for her reply, imagining traffic delays or late paperwork, her attention is fully invested elsewhere. Someone else gets the instant responses, the emojis, the little bursts of energy you used to receive. You get the leftovers, delayed replies, vague explanations, and that tired smile when she finally walks through the door. Psychologically, this excuse is perfect because it plays into your logic. Of course, phones glitch. Of course, life gets busy. She doesn't need a perfect alibi. She just needs one that makes you feel unreasonable for pressing further. And when you do question it, she'll sigh, roll her eyes, and accuse you of being obsessive. Do you really expect me to answer every single call? The defense is built right into the lie. Pay attention to the pattern, not the excuse. Once is normal. Twice is coincidence. 3 times at the exact same type of outing. That's a system. That's selective silence designed to keep you at arm's length while she invests her energy somewhere else. And the cruelest part, by the time you start noticing, she's already trained you to stop asking. Because every time you push, she punishes you with irritation. She's turned her neglect into your guilt. But silence isn't her sharpest blade. No, the next lie doesn't hide behind excuses. It goes straight for your instincts and makes you doubt the very ground you stand on. That's the gaslighting lie. And it's even more dangerous. Lie 5, you're overthinking it. This is the lie that doesn't just dismiss your questions, it attacks your sanity. You notice something's off. Her phone is always face down. Her tone shifts when she mentions a certain co-worker. Her smile fades when you walk into the room mid-text. You raise a brow, and instead of an explanation, she delivers the dagger. You're overthinking it. It sounds like reassurance, but it's not. It's gaslighting 101. She's telling you that your instincts, the same instincts that kept you alive through decades of hard-earned experience, are suddenly worthless. The more you trust your gut, the more she mocks it. You become the paranoid one, the jealous one, the man who makes problems out of nothing. Here's the dirty detail. She often delivers this line with a laugh, almost playful, as if your suspicion is adorable. Or she might shake her head, sigh heavily, and mutter, "I can't believe you'd even think that about me." Either way, the goal is the same, to make you retreat, embarrassed, questioning your own clarity. But let's be blunt, gut instincts don't come from nowhere. They come from years of watching, listening, reading the smallest shifts in people. When your gut screams, it's because your subconscious has already added up the pieces your conscious mind hasn't caught yet. She knows this, and that's why she works so hard to discredit it. Psychologically, it's brutal. By framing you as irrational, she keeps control of the narrative. Every time you bring up inconsistencies, she slams you with the same phrase until you start censoring yourself. And once you stop asking questions, she gains total freedom to keep doing exactly what she's doing, without interruption. Imagine this. You confront her about coming home late, and she smirks. Seriously? You're overthinking again. I was at work, but the truth is, she was in a parking lot texting him, stretching out every minute before she had to face you. You weren't overthinking. You were finally catching on. The cruelest twist. Over time, you start believing her. You suppress your instincts. You second-guess your own memory. She doesn't just lie about her actions. She trains you to distrust yourself. That's the real betrayal. And yet, gaslighting isn't her final trick. Because when dismissing your suspicions isn't enough, she'll pull out an even simpler cover story. One that sounds so reasonable, so ordinary, you'd never expect it to hide betrayal. That's the "I've just been busy" lie, and it's the perfect disguise for double lives. Lie 6, I've just been busy. This one slides under the radar because it sounds so reasonable. Who can argue with being busy? Work deadlines pile up. Friends demand attention. Family emergencies pop out of nowhere. But when your wife starts using busy like a shield every time you ask why she's distant, you're not hearing the truth. You're hearing the most convenient cover story in the book. Think about the timing. Suddenly, she's swamped with urgent projects you never heard about before. She has girls' nights with friends whose names you don't recognize. She gets invited to family events that somehow never include you. Each excuse comes wrapped in just enough plausibility to keep you silent. And the more you accept it, the more she stretches it. Here's the gossip detail that stings. She'll text you, "Sorry, can't talk tonight. work is insane, then post a filtered photo on Instagram hours later with a wine glass in her hand. Or she'll claim she was exhausted after a late meeting, yet she returns home glowing, almost energized, like someone just gave her the validation you haven't been allowed to provide. The psychology here is subtle but deadly. Busy schedules aren't lies by themselves. It's the pattern that reveals the game. When busyness always collides with your usual time together, when it always leaves her drained of energy for you but strangely lit up for everything else, it's no longer a calendar issue, it's a cover. She's reallocating her emotional energy, and you're no longer the priority. Notice the vagueness in her stories. You ask, "What project?" And she waves you off with, "You wouldn't understand." You ask, "Who was there?" And she shrugs, "Just some friends." She wants you to stop digging, because the more you dig, the more obvious the inconsistencies become. Here's the cruel trick. By saying she's busy, she paints herself as hardworking, social, even dutiful. It makes you look unreasonable for questioning it. Who wants to be the guy complaining his wife has too much responsibility? She knows this, and she uses your silence as her cover. But remember, exhaustion doesn't lie. If she's too tired to sit with you after a supposed all-nighter, yet somehow has the spark to hit the gym at dawn, or meet friends again the next evening, the story cracks wide open. That's not just busyness, it's selective investment. And yet, even this excuse isn't her sharpest weapon. Because when busy no longer holds the walls, she turns to the coldest, most dismissive lie of them all. It's the one that shuts every question down with just 2 words. I'm fine. Lie 7. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. This is the deadliest lie because it kills the conversation before it even begins. You see the change. Her mood is off. Her eyes are cold. The warmth that once filled the room is gone. You ask gently, "What's wrong?" And she cuts you off with 2 little words. I'm fine. But she's not fine, not even close. That short, sharp phrase is her shield, her way of slamming the door in your face while chaos brews behind it. She knows you feel the distance. She knows you've noticed her sudden irritability, her fake smiles, the way she vanishes into her phone at the dinner table. But instead of opening up, she throws you scraps of dismissal. Here's the gossip detail that twists the knife. She'll say, "I'm fine," while typing furiously under the table, a faint smirk flickering across her lips. Or she'll murmur it flatly after slamming a door, then immediately call her friend in the driveway. You're shut out of her reality, but someone else is being invited right into the heart of it. The psychology here is devastating. By claiming nothing's wrong, she forces you into doubt. You're left second-guessing yourself. Maybe you're imagining things. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're pushing too hard. Meanwhile, she maintains control. Your concern becomes a weakness she exploits to keep you in the dark. This is more than avoidance. It's a calculated tactic. When she says, "I'm fine," what she really means is, stop asking questions. Stop noticing. Stop getting closer to the truth, and every time you back off, she gains more space to hide, more room to invest herself where she actually wants to be. But here's the cruelest irony. Silence speaks louder than any excuse. The absence of words is its own confession. Every cold dismissal, every wall of "I'm fine," tells you she's already crossed the line, emotionally, and maybe more. She doesn't need to explain, because the distance itself is the explanation. The scariest part isn't that she lied. It's that you believed her because love blinded you to the truth. See you in the next video.